Yo, how's it going? My name is Julian. I'm here with David Block at the Freedom Culture Tribe in the jungle in Costa Rica. And we're part of the Superhero Academy. Going to drop into just a couple of questions and then feel kind of what the resonance is. So, David, kind of the day and the last couple of days that we spent here, what is it that you feel is like most alive in your being right now?
I think as an artist, it requires a certain amount of sensitivity. And I'm a sensitive artist. And I oscillate between a very clear understanding of the impact my art has on humanity and a fear or anxiety that being an artist is not enough. And when I witness people who truly stand for something, sometimes that deepest, darkest corner of my humanity gets poked a little bit. And what's feeling most alive and clear, as all things kind of are, it's like a wave. I'm at this in the crest part of my wave where I am very clear once again on what a major part of humanity as a whole the arts play, and the impact and inspiration that my commitment to my craft has had on humanity here directly and as the greater whole of humanity. So that's feeling very alive for me right now, and I'm feeling very alive right now because I had a near-death experience. This is a couple weeks ago, where my appendix ruptured and I had to go to the emergency room and was pretty near to death. So I'm literally just feeling this very deep sense of gratitude for my physical being and my ability to create and be a creator and be a part of this ecosystem and offer something real and tangible to it.
Yeah. Cool. Wow. I feel like there's a lot of gratitude in the way you speak about, well, the human experience, which is also one of the aliases that you perform as an artist. Where do you feel is this value is kind of at in this narrative that we're building? So we're a bunch of superheroes in the jungle. We all are media producers or artists or well-being pros, and we'll be going back into this world. And what kind of narrative do you feel you're supporting with being this artist, and what value are you kind of offering to that collective?
It's an interesting question for where I am in my own journey, the hero's journey, starring each one of us. That is our life. I'm between two worlds right now, truthfully. The one is creating positive change and impact in society, which is, I think, one of the reasons that we're all here together. And the other is a deep trust that whatever the great organizational principles of all of this are, and the thing that made this like this golden mean spiral, the thing that uses that to make whirlpools and sunflowers and galaxies, maybe has this all figured out, and that don't change the world, change yourself. And that all of the darkness in our humanity is actually just perfect. And that maybe if we actually took a step back and stopped trying to create so much positive impact, we might actually create more positive impact. So I'm also, once again, oscillating between those two of how do I show up in the world. My intention is to unify humanity by crossing cultural barriers with art and music. I'm clear on that. But I don't know if I need to do anything or change anything. And so I am more leaning towards this idea of Wu Wei, of of not forcing and moving with that into this world and into this thing. And my big insight so far of how I move forward was through Charles Eisenstein yesterday, where we were asked to put together this ask offer. Right. Like, what is your ask? What is your offer? I'm pretty clear on my offer. I'm a creative director. I'm a creative consultant, and I make music and art. And if you want to use music and art to help create inspiring media, you can use it. Have it for whatever you want. Right. My ask is, I want a larger audience. I don't want hundreds of thousands or maybe 1 million people. I want hundreds of millions and billions of people. I want to create more impact. And then through talking to Charles and about morphic resonance, for the first time in my life, I actually took a step back into my own success. And that maybe I actually already have impacted the perfect amount of people. Maybe I don't need to expand my audience. Maybe I just need to just focus on creating the most valuable connections or content. Does this interview need to go to 10 million people? I don't know. Maybe it'll go to the right 5 people. So that's what I'm stepping into here.
Wow. I think that's immensely powerful, and I feel like you're touching on something that is really alive within me and this whole collective here, which is at the core of our mission is actually connection. And connection, like, yeah, there's this ambition in all of us, like billions of people, but I think this is clear, we are connected as billions of people. And some of our messages will travel that far, but the joy actually is really in the connection, right? What I love about art, and I'd love to hear a little bit more of what's like coming up in your heart about that. What I love about artists and musicians especially is that music clearly is frequency. Music clearly is a vibe, right? And when I see you in your element, like, you're feeling the vibe, everyone is feeling the vibe, literally their bodies are moving, their hearts are pounding in that rhythm. It feels to me like being a musician is like one of the clearest manifestations of playing as work. Can you riff on that a bit?
Yeah, sure. In Hinduism, they call this whole thing Leela. That means play, which I really love. That this is just a big play. It's a big game. And if you love your work, you never work a day in your life. But that's can be challenging. When you make your passion your profession. And we're not out of this old paradigm. We haven't made the old system obsolete, as we were talking about with that Buckminster Fuller quote. In order to change something, you don't fight against it. You build something new that makes the old one obsolete. Totally. We're not there yet. I still have to choose. I don't have to, but I choose very particularly where I share my music and where I get to allocate my time. I don't get to be in my studio doing anything I want, making music all day. So it is a very delicate balance of being able to play and also work. That being said, music is magic, and I had a really interesting experience recently in this last 6 months with the spirit of music, and I was in a plant medicine ceremony, and I surrendered. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was visited by the spirit of music, and the spirit of music came to me and said, this is not a joke. Like, what you're doing, yes, you're enjoying it, but just understand the gravity of what you're doing, and that this is real magic, and what you have the opportunity to do. So it's not so serious, but it's so serious. So just be aware of that.
The responsibility.
Wow. And it's like that is it Superman, right? Is that the Superman quote? With great power comes great Spider-Man quote. With great power comes great responsibility.
Totally.
And as I notice, as I grow, there is this certain sense of play. I have a really good time when I play music most of the time.
Yeah.
But that's only if I'm in a place where there's a giving and receiving from the audience. Last night I had a blast. We had an incredible cacao ceremony. We were singing circle songs around a fire in the jungle. It's raining. We're uplifting each other. It's like I felt that. That was such a joy for me to play. That hasn't always been the case for me. You know, like I remember one of the most challenging moments in my life was a couple years ago. I had the very first concert where I couldn't wait to get off stage. And that was one of the most heartbreaking experiences I've ever had in my career. I couldn't have imagined that was even a possibility. Like I'm getting paid to play music that I made. Like I don't, no requests, no Despacito or Ricky Martin. Like, it's not like, it's like I get to play what I want. And I had this feeling of feeling broken, and it was, I wasn't getting that from my audience. So I think one thing that's so magical about the spirit of play is that, and being able to have a profession where I play music and I'm in a playful environment, is that it's a two-way street, you know?
Connection.
It's a connection, and it's very real. And last night, for example, I felt that, and I feel that here in this kind of environment. I think we're cultivating this experience of expansiveness, and
so as you kind of going into that experience that we're cultivating here, what I'd love to know from you, David, is what does freedom culture mean to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're in this interesting space right now. A lot of us have been born into a free world, myself included. I'm a white American male. That's about as free as you get, without having to deal with a lot of the oppression that you get if you're born into a person of color, a woman, from a developing nation, all these things. But freedom is not a given, and even in one of the freest countries on earth, it is not a given. And so for me, this freedom society is radical self-expression. It's being able to be a vulnerable, emotionally empowered man. It's being able to share how I feel about something without being judged. It's being able to cry and feel strong and powerful. It's being able to, when we did that exercise the other night where we do the honi, which is the Polynesian sharing of the breath in the forehead. It's like, for many men around the world, that is like, you're just homophobia, or like we don't have necessarily even freedom within our sexuality to be able to bond together as brothers. So for me, I feel like we're really embodying freedom culture here, and that is being able to be honest, vulnerable, expressed. Like I can wear colorful rainbow shorts,
whatever you choose,
and like go swim naked in the ocean, and I know no one's bothering me. And not only can I do it, but the women here feel safe to do that. And I think that's a really beautiful component and a reflection. Are the children safe here? Do the women feel safe here? Do they feel safe to express themselves? And I think that container is alive here. And
Cool. That's very powerful. I hear you say that freedom culture is radical self-expression, honesty, starting with oneself, right? vulnerability, and then also this, what it kind of creates, the ripple of impact of these values, which is a safety space or a safe container to just let me be Julian, let you be David, and our gifts and purposes go into the world.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And I love to share that, because David and I, before we got to chat at all, we were part of a men's circle here at the Freedom Culture, the Superhero Academy, and we were doing the Honey, as you said, that like forehead to forehead, just really close to each other. We hugged, I think, for like 5 minutes, breathing together. And I'm gonna be honest, like parts of that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it is that like vulnerability and being okay with it for like what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, you're not gonna die.
No. And then this instant, like I'm gonna actually trust you. That this trust is just magical manifestation.
It's great saying that you don't grow when you're comfortable. You know, it's like you have to push the boundary a little bit, and you know, there were moments where of that men's circle where I was like, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go now. I'm tired, and then like all the excuses and the doubt of saying whatever it is, and sometimes you just have to push through that, and that's how we expand, is when we push the edge, you know, and then now you have a new spectrum, you know, of like, I knew that I was here before, and I've expanded here now.
Nice.
And I think that's what we have the opportunity to do.
Cool. So just like as a last question, as we're wrapping up this interview. So you're just talking about expanding and growing. How has the Superhero Academy experience been for you so far?
Are we halfway? We're about halfway, right?
We're about halfway, yeah.
We're about halfway. Are you guys mud bathing? That's what's happening over there. They're mud bathing. They're mud bathing. That's how it's going. They're mud bathing. I might join them. It's beautiful. One thing I'm really enjoying is the not over programming, allowing for these moments. I think at the end of the day, what we all want is more connection. That's what we want, you know, like, and that's what we're cultivating through these men's circles, being able to connect and reclaim our power as men together, with the women in the women's circle being able to embrace each other as sisters, and as we're moving out of a competitive, comparative model of society into a collaborative model. And that's really where I'm at, and what we're doing is that making the old system obsolete is moving from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset, moving from a comparative and a competitive model into a collaborative model. And it's hard to quantify how that's happening at Superhero Academy. Like, did I meet my next business partner? Actually, maybe. Did I meet someone new to collaborate with? Very possibly. Did I hear one quote that impacted me, and that will impact me for the rest of my life? Yeah, that's already happened, and I got 2 more days.
Wow.
And I think one of the most important and valuable aspects of that has been allowing space. And so, you know, as a composer, if I put too many sounds together, you would just have a bunch of noise. Right. It's really the space between the notes that define the music. And I feel like it's the spaces between all of these brilliant talks, you know, whether it's with Charles or Amanda from Buckminster Fuller Institute, or even being able to give my talk or my musical offering here. And it's these spaces in between which are allowing for these moments, which are the, I think, some of the most valuable for me. So.
Wow. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for having the space to sit together and to share kind of what's going on the inside and how you're experiencing all of that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I feel super blessed. Yeah, you're an inspiring man, and
likewise.
Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.